I know you've talked to BCS to death. Of course, we're going to have to talk about it a little bit, but you said something up there that was pretty interesting. You said that the BCS isn't a big focus for you, not something you typically hear analysts say, that there's other things that you're a little bit more passionate about when it comes to collegiate sports. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, I said that the BCS is something I think for talk radio. It takes up a lot of time, especially on a slow news day. I think that but it's not, you're not going to figure it out where someone's not going to be left out and they're not going to be complaining. There's always going to be a team left out who's going to be complaining. And I'd rather spend more time, energy, and effort on the lack of minorities in Division I-A head coaching jobs in football. And, that number is dwindling down to the point where they're becoming an endangered species. And I think if we rattled the cages on that topic more so than we do, or as much as we do the BCS, then maybe we can get a change, because change doesn't happen without pressure. And as long as no one's putting any pressure on these ADs and presidents of the universities, then they're not going to change their ways.
Okay, now, does that mean that you're not in favor of a playoff system, or you just don't care?
Well, I do want to see the best two teams get to the championship game. I just don't know which route is the best route to take right now. I think that first and foremost, there are too many bowl games. When you start rewarding teams for just 6 wins, for being mediocre, it's like little league stuff where everyone gets a trophy. This is big time now, and you should, to me, have to have more than 6 wins. Obviously, to me, even more than 7 to get to a bowl game. So to me, there are too many bowl games. I think you can eliminate some of those bowl games and then maybe start talking about a +1 system or a playoff system. By always, you can't do it like the NFL. And that's what they have to understand, because there's always going to be a team on the outside looking in. Case in point, the Big 12 South, when you have Texas, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma all tied, even if we had a playoff system, all 3 of those teams wouldn't get in that playoff system. So there still would be someone saying, look, we beat one of those teams who's in the playoffs. Why aren't we in it? You got the same scenario.
Of course, this year's special because you have the doubleheader of the national championship. Who do you expect to be in the national championship this year?
As much as I hate to say it, being a former Seminole, I have a feeling we're going to see the Gators down here. And I think they're going to play Oklahoma. I think it'll be Florida-Oklahoma matchup. And I guess I have to root for the Gators since they whooped up on us pretty good. Then it won't make us seem quite as bad.
Right. Well, as a Florida alum, I'm very happy to hear it. Let's talk about the BCS real quick. I heard you mention up there that you're not in favor of playoff system. Obviously, you have a lot of people in Austin, Texas very upset right now. You have Boise State Nation upset. The Trojan Nation was almost pretty darn upset. Oregon State helped them out a little bit. But why aren't you in favor of a playoff system when so many people are screaming for it right now?
I'm not in favor of a complete playoff system, but I would like to see a +1 system. But I think no matter which way you tried to fix it, there'd still be somebody on the outside looking in. And if you look at college football, there's something about the bowl setup that makes it special, that makes it different than the NFL. And I think if you gravitated toward a playoff, it would kind of change the whole landscape of college football. It would make it seem more like the NFL. And we've already got that. There's something special about, sitting down on New Year's Day and watching a few bowl games. And even now with the national championship game, the 1 versus 2, to me, it is something special. I think most of the time you'll see a clear-cut national championship, and when there's not, it gives us something to talk about.
I know you don't want to give us your picks, so we won't talk about the big teams here, but there are some smaller teams like Boise State, Utah, undefeated Utah will probably get a BCS bowl berth, probably the Sugar Bowl, maybe the Orange Bowl, but Boise State not going to, more than likely. Do you feel badly when teams are undefeated and don't get a shot at all, or do you think that that's just kind of how the way that the cookie crumbles here too?
Well, I do feel badly for those teams because, like I said, you should be rewarded for what you do on the field. And if you have an undefeated season, I think you should be rewarded. Like I said, if you have teams who they win 6-7 games and they're going to bowl games, I think if you go undefeated, there should be a way to work you into at least a BCS bowl game. And but just the way the cookie crumbles right now, I think we need to revisit the way this is all starting to play off. And if a team is undefeated, no matter what conference they're in, they should get into a BCS bowl game.
All right, you have a big vote coming up here in a week, your Heisman ballot. Let's talk about who your front runners are for the Heisman Trophy.
Well, I think my top 5, about a week or 2 ago, were Michael Crabtree and Graham Harrell of Texas Tech, and Sam Bradford of Oklahoma, Tim Tebow of Florida, and Colt McCoy of Texas. Well, I believe that when Oklahoma beat the daylights out of Texas Tech, you kind of eliminated 2 candidates right there, and that's Crabtree and Harrell of Texas Tech. So now you have 3 left with Bradford of Oklahoma, McCoy of Texas, and of course Tebow, who won it last year in Florida. Well, those guys, well, two of the 3 guys have a big game this weekend. Tebow's going up against a tough Alabama defense in the SEC championship, and Sam Bradford's playing the Big 12 championship against Missouri. So I think those 2 can really do something to propel themselves to that number 1 slot. Now I think that as of today, Sam Bradford has the edge. He's just, if you match him up, week by week, game by game, his numbers blows everyone's numbers out the waters, but each candidate has a loss, and if you match what he did in his loss compared to the other candidates in their loss, then it's not a comparison. I mean, the kid threw 5 touchdowns in a loss, so he's been consistently outstanding throughout the season. I really like to judge players by the performance they have in big games. I don't care what you do against, lower tier opponents and you run up the score. I don't care about that. But what you do against top tier opponents in big games, that goes a long way with me. So yeah, I would definitely, it's still an open race for me, but I just think that Sam is the front runner.
Let's assume that Oklahoma was to lose to Missouri, because no one's really talking about that. No one, of course, expected. I don't expect it either. But let's say it happened. What's the next team that you would put in there?
Probably Texas. I mean, I think you've got to look at their season. I think the 2 most talented teams, just purely talent on the field, is probably Southern Cal and Florida. That would be a dream matchup for me, but I don't think we'll see that. But I would definitely have to give it to Texas. If Oklahoma blows their chance, I think you'd have to see Texas playing Florida. But Florida's got to get past Alabama first.
We do have to get past Alabama. Yeah, that would be a dream matchup for me as well. A scary matchup if we played USC, but a great football game nevertheless. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For more great videos, check back every day on opensports.com.